for Around the Ecomi Verse. Get pumped up. Get excited. Here we go.
Yo, 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 welcome to Around the Comment Verse, episode 73. We got your boys Crypto Rain, Real Runner Chavez, and we got a special guest, Cool Mo, today. And he's sort of like a floating head guy.
On my Apple Vision Pros.
Yes, yeah. Apple Vision Pro. It's like somewhere between a ghost and an avatar. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the first example of this persona, I looked like I was on, Living Dead or, some kind of zombie movie. It looks a little bit better now, but still a little ghostish.
Boom.
Coolio.
We've got Johnny. He says, Randy, did you forget the Assassin's Creed competition?
Is that when people were supposed to put like a picture of them and their Assassin's Creed collectible, and then they pick out whoever's got the coolest one, then give a free one? I don't know what they did with that, if they chose. Hi, Arbear. But they so one thing that I saw this morning that two people messaged me about, it was if you follow Low Mint VeVe over on the X, it shows all the low mints that get sold and that get transferred. And there was a bunch of super low mints coming in from moving out of the main Marvel wallet, and it said to a random wallet to rank number 1577 or something like that. And it was numbers like 14, 15, 16, and all that. So a lot of people were speculating like, oh, is this going to be like a big, is this a big OT seal that they're doing? I thought they said they wouldn't do that. Be advised, that is another Marvel wallet. And they did a bunch of them. They did so much, in fact, that actually it's skewing the views on Stacker, where now it looks like there's just this big mega wallet. Yeah, M'Baku forever. Got a bunch of
M'Baku.
But cool. You love him.
Yo, Bill.
But it looks like somebody has like 13% of all of the sub 100s of the entire Marvel line, where it's really just a Marvel wallet. But again, they are skewing it because I had over 1%, and then they just kind of diluted that. So I just want to make sure Stacker, at some point, I'll talk about that later, just kind of corrects for that. And then on top of that, there's something I mentioned the other day. It was VeVe had mentioned Kawaii All-Stars, and I said, am I Gwen Stefani in the beginning of the music video, Holla Back Girl? Because super kawaii, because that's what she says, and nobody commented on it. These are the jokes, people.
Oh, no.
I didn't catch that one.
Anyway, that was it. Yeah, continue.
I saw that Blackpink VeVe X post has 732,000 views.
Wow.
So that is a lot more than we normally get. What do you guys think about it? What do you think? I know, Randy, you said that the drop was moved, right? To the 22nd to the 26th.
The drop
now?
wasn't moved. It was the announcement that was moved. Like originally the countdown said like, oh, only X amount of hours or whatever. And it was supposed to actually be announced this morning at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But then they just announced it like 12 hours early. Oh, hey guys, we have four collectibles each. They're going to have, out of the 4 collectibles, they'll have 4 different poses each. And then they're going to be super limited. Probably going to have to do a bunch of MCP points for that and bid millions. And then that was pretty much it. So I didn't need to go. I didn't need to go live at 3 in the morning. I still went live for a couple hours, but that was it.
What I think is going to be interesting about the Blackpink is the stage. I know, David, you in the Spaces event said something about, all 4 of them being up there. If they could drop a new, song on that or one of their best ones, that'll bring a lot of people in as well. And I'm really interested in seeing how many editions are going to be dropped for each one of these. I mean, they got 93 million followers. So how many editions is VeVe going to?
That info's not out yet. Okay. Yeah. That will be very interesting. And Stan here has a great question. Will they be able to handle the Black Rain drop volume? Because you guys remember what happened with the Disney golden moments? That was chaos. And that was, and everything before that was working perfectly. I'm sure you guys remember the drops were actually really, really good leading up to that. They just could not handle that much traffic. So hopefully they really get the servers right for this one.
Yeah.
This will be like the biggest test
So,
they've ever had.
Funny that Kumo mentioned Stage. I don't know if David did this on purpose or not, but there was a game back in the day called Pokemon Snap. And in one of the levels, you had this coughing, which is like a gas Pokemon. He expels a lot of poisonous gas. And he was chasing 3 different Jigglypuff. And if you hit the coughing with pester balls, you can save the Jigglypuff. And then at the end, there's a stage where Jigglypuff are dancing and singing on the stage. It's all the ones that you save, depending on how many that you save. Would be from 1 to 3. So I think that this might be David's way of giving a little nod to stage. If you collect all these collectibles, they'll be able to dance on stage. And maybe that's just a reference to Pokemon. I could be just really reaching for that there, but it just reminded me of that.
Well, yeah, he also said, do you reckon if so, they'll be ready for the Pokemon Big Leagues? Actually, I saw some speculation in one of the OMI groups I'm in, where they said, South Korea coming into the app is a perfect gateway for like potentially when they want to drop Pokemon, they're going to have a whole bunch of, South Koreans and Asians that are really interested in Pokemon. So that would be a really good, I don't know, like what you call it, like a pathway.
That'd be a good 1-2 punch of like getting massive traction.
Really good.
And Randy, you talked about Earth 2, and once the South Koreans came in, how they just ate up all the cities. Yeah. So that could happen with.
It wasn't just cities; it was important cities or cities with important figureheads. I remember somewhere in Brazil where they have that giant like Jesus statue where he's all like this. It's like 4 squares, but it went for like tens of thousands of dollars just because I had that on them. And that's what the South Korea, they go in and they get all of the big landmarks and just everything. And they wait for the green candles, and then everyone buys those green candles. They sell them at just the huge markup. And then they go to another country. And they did that. I was like, can any of my American friends, can we all do this? And we just couldn't get our act together, and we couldn't compete. Thankfully, now there's a bunch of different factions, there's a bunch of different guilds. So it kind of prevents any one group from doing that. But in VeVe right now, it's kind of every man for himself. I guarantee you South Korea comes in, they'll buy up all the walls, they'll buy up Golden Moments and the Luke Skywalkers and the Vaders, and it's just, I guarantee you that happens.
Yeah, that will be so sad to have that happen. I'll have to sell some things to them.
Also, they got that Tokidoki drop coming as well. So that just goes together.
Super kawaii. It also helps that they were sharing it on their socials as well. There are 10 million followers on X and there are 57 million followers on Insta. Like each video that we've made on VeVe, they've shared on their socials. So that really helps.
If you remember a few months back too, David was doing a partnership with China, or at least what was the company?
Alibaba.
Alibaba,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that all about? I don't know still. But it seems like he's putting in massive work towards the Asian markets, which would be huge. Asia spends more money per capita than the U.S. does in video games. And I don't know how that translates to collectibles, but there's never been a global collectibles market before. So this is the first time there'll be a global collectibles market. Really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think they're going to use Alibaba for payout, possibly.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Fiat on-ramps and off-ramps would make sense with the Alipay. They did that. I think South Korea did that with crypto as well. I think they spent more on crypto in Q1 than Americans did. I don't think it was like by much, but they still did. Speaking of which, Vive Studios had just posted before. We've had a deal with them for like a year or two now, at least. They go in and they post. It's all like in Korean, but they translated it at the bottom. And they said, VeVe, the digital collectible platform, currently operates in North America and Europe, selling digital collectibles for 300 famous brands, blah, 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 blah. Vive Studios will not only produce digital collectibles for K contents, but also collaborate on promotion, marketing, and content production operations for exclusive IP content held by VeVe Korea. Kulma, how familiar are you with Vive Studios? Because they had one of the first headsets, the HTC Vive. I don't know if you use that and how that compares to the Apple headset.
I have not, but I remember a year ago you talked about, the Vive Studios coming out and how they had the HTC, and we all, speculated what was going on with that, and then coming out of South Korea, and we talked about South Korea, but we never even thought about K-pop on that. So, one of the first ones, they've got to be involved in something in this. I mean, I still think that Cavernous is going to announce probably the Disneyverse and VeVeverse, and they've got the Epic Games. I think that could all be done at the same time.
That would
possibly
be huge.
WWDC on June 10th.
I don't know if they would announce both of those at the same time, and also is it like, did they? I know they had that partnership with Epic, but did they say that they're building Disney's Disneyverse?
I don't know. That's just pure speculation.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
With Cavernous. Yeah, that would be.
That would be huge.
They'd definitely be interoperable at that point.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If they did, you're definitely going to have interoperability on that.
I just want to go back to the point about Alibaba a second ago. I remember, David, you actually said it's more than just a payment partnership. It's more than just payments. So, I mean, maybe they'll do that too. Maybe that'll be like a side benefit. But I remember, David, you specifically said in one of the interviews, Alibaba partnership is more than just payments. So looks like Randy knows something. Randy, you're doing that Foster smirk face.
So I was just going and remembering I actually forgot about it now because I was trying to think of a lie, and then what were we talking before the K-Korea, the K-pop, it was a cool reference, and I forget what it was, but it's gone now.
What's a Pokemon? No.
Now I remember what it was. We were talking about nope, it's gone again. It had something to do with like ice cream toppings and get one thing before the other. Oh no, I remember now. You have, if anyone remembers the movie Dinner for Schmucks, and they go in and Paul Rudd says like, oh, let's do this lamp deal with this Russian lady. She has some ideas for lamps. And everyone's like, this is going to be like a couple $100, like maybe thousands of dollars. This is going to waste our time. This is not worth it. And he says, well, actually, we'll lose money on the deal, but it's just so we can get in the door with her Russian billionaire husband, and we'll make billions on this deal. So I feel like for Alibaba, yeah, maybe they might give them a couple $100,000 a year for their AWS like services.
Exactly.
But then that gives them access to Alipay and all the other stuff. And that's just kind of it was probably a stupid reference, but Jordan made me think about it. So
well, I think Alibaba, they're going to use those servers just like AWS with Amazon. I mean, when you got the Chinese market, and China is going to want, the government's going to want to look at everything going in and out of that. It just makes sense to me. But
yeah, they won't want American servers probably.
Yeah,
so it is really interesting. Getting into the Asian market, and I know David, you've been working on this for a while now, right? He's always planning years and years out. Do you guys think we get OMI to NFT soon, like this quarter?
Oh man, every day, every Monday, I wake up thinking, okay, is this the day they're going to announce it?
There was so yesterday, I don't know if you guys listened to Mr. MC1 Spaces. He mentioned that Justin is the CEO of like VeVe South Korea. They had gone on and mentioned that this is almost 36 months in the making. And the video that they made says, oh, hi, like with all of the girls, which by the way, I had multiple people tell me that was worth 8 figures, like the announcement. The actual band themselves, in order to get this deal, it has been thrown around through people in the industry that said, no, that's an 8-figure number just to get the licensing deal. And now I don't know if VeVe went and threw down with that and bid it, but I mean, for me, if it's, let's say if I had somebody, I mean, it doesn't matter. But what Blackpink thinks is like, hey, what are you going to do for the brand? How are you going to take care of the IP? And it doesn't matter if they give them, 20 million up front, 30 million up front. If it's going to be crap collectibles, then it's not worth it. And who are the other people that are going to try to do this? I mean, Binance already tried a few years ago and they failed. So when Disney kind of swooped in and did this, and again, it's been almost a 36-month negotiation factor, they actually made that video like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is amazing what VeVe can do just from past experiences and just what they're able to secure these deals, likely not paying 8 figures or tens of millions for it. and securing that. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. So I think that because OMI to NFT has been worked on for so long, it's possible we get it this week, and we do some tests before they go live with Blackpink next week, or would they just wait until June? Like they'll wait until the madness is over and then do it.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll do is wait till the Blackpink's over. I think the Blackpink gives them a good foundation to make sure everything works for Pokemon if Pokemon comes out, because that's going to be the biggest rush VeVe will ever have when they announce that.
I'll go live for 24 hours and just give a fraction of what I know to the community. I'll just have like some hauls and some honey. I was pouring down my gullet every 60 minutes. But just because of that for 24 hours, I'll give a fraction of what I know, and what I know is a fraction of what's out there on Bulbapedia and all that. There's so much lore. There's so many things, so many hidden just Easter eggs for Pokemon that they could do. It's going to go forever.
Pokemon, not if but when.
I agree.
Especially since they're figuring out how to make them animated with cool interactions. So it's exciting that by then, like what they did with Wolverine was cool. And they've done that kind of stuff since the Spider-Man Secret Rare. But it'll be cool to see like if they do something. And remember, they did the Slimer and the Ghost Trap interactions. Imagine if they had the Pokemon and you could get a Pokeball and you could throw the Pokeball at it and it would capture it right.
Stop it, Rain. I could only get Zora.
Let's not talk about Pokemon Go because I was addicted to that game. Way too fun. I just want to quickly go to this comment. It's just about Chuck. Obviously, if anyone's interested in Chuck, they know that it's dumped recently quite a bit. And Vladimir asked why. It was just 2 whales that dumped. They were not part of the team. You can look on chain and see one of them was the biggest whale in Chuck. He was the 4th biggest wallet. He had I think it was 26 million Chuck. He dumped $200,000 worth in one order, and that obviously is not nice on the chart. Pretty rude. And what's crazy is he got like $120,000 in slippage, right? So if he just sold slowly, he would have made $120,000 more money, and the chart would have stayed up for longer. So he would have made. I don't understand this.
That was somebody didn't know what they're doing.
So like a third of that order he never got.
Yes,
because he actually did 3. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you don't do that much in one. It's obvious. Like he's obviously new to crypto, right? So it happens. And if you guys look, I think the last 6 hours, Chuck is now going up 24% or whatever. But yeah, it's looking pretty rough there. It'll find a base and go up. The crazy thing is, it only went from 27 million market cap to 32 million market cap in 3 days. So we're just back a week. It's around 7 million market cap now. So it's back a week. But obviously some people bought the top, right? But it's meme coins. Meme coins are crazy. Rain warned you guys of this last week, right? Meme coins are crazy, and I know this. Never put more money than you're willing to lose. But I feel good about the project still. I'm working on it with a lot of the team members and everything. And I actually bought more because I'm like Randy. I'm crazy. When I like something, I'll just buy it. If it goes down, I buy more. I don't get too worried about it.
I do like dollar cost averaging.
Back to OMI. Why will people buy OMI? Genuine concern. I guess OMI to NFT will be really huge for that, right? That's going to be a big catalyst.
Me and Rain went over this on Friday, and there's going to be a bunch of different reasons. I mean, one, you just have the people that are looking to invest, and a lot of them will likely buy after it like 5x's because like, I'll get in now. That's fine. I think that's still pretty low. Then you'll have a couple of people that won't necessarily care about the investment as much as they will like just the community and say, oh, I have some OMI, even if it's not a ton. Then you'll have people that maybe also might not care about the price, but they are still looking to get something for it. Like we got the Secret Rare Ecomi logo last time. That's worth like $1,800. So people will be like, okay, I'm never missing out on that again. And they'll just get 10 million OMI. They don't care what the price is. They'll just hold it just for the free stuff that they'll get each quarter. There'll be people that are going to go and want to have OMI to NFT, or even if they don't have, because it's going to be a lot cheaper to go in and do that. And they'll be incentivized out of people that are selling for OMI, and they'll sell super cheap. Like it makes a lot more sense to go in and sell something for OMI, even if they have to give it at like a 5 or 6% discount. Because if you sell something for gems, yeah, you pay that 8.5% if it's Marvel, Disney, or whatever. But then there's a 10% cash out rate as well.
Yeah.
You just save a lot by just selling for OMI, so they'll likely give a discount. And then you'll have gamification, stuff in the VeVeverse. You'll have things like, Blackpink Blockchain was the first guy that had, or one of the first guys. I think Epico had a use case for OMI first, with their play to earn with their game, but Blackpink Blockchain had it with the Feeshes. Hey, VeVe, what's going on? What's up, MC?
Hey.
What's up, VeVe?
And then you're going to have other people that are going to make games, and they're going to say like, oh, okay, in order to go in, like people can token lock stuff. So it'll be like, oh, in order to go into this, like in Diddy Kong Racing, you need to have a certain amount of balloons, or Super Mario needs a certain amount of stars to open certain doors. They'll likely be parts of the VeVeverse that people build themselves, and they'll like scan your wallet, or they'll scan whatever. You need this collectible, or you need X amount of tokens to enter, and people are going to want to do that. And they won't care what the price is. They'll just get X amount in order to pay for that, or for any other type of games. So there's a bunch.
That logo's changed, right? That's I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's for Blackpink.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
So I have some thoughts on this. Not that I'm opinionated at all, but I have been in crypto for 7 years, and I thought use case was king, but I saw it differently this last bull run. And really, what's king is narrative. And so there was this project out called Sandbox, and I wasn't big on buying their token because their token literally did almost nothing. So Sandbox was obviously like a metaverse, and it went really big in 2021. But before it went big, I thought, well, their land will do really well. I don't know about their token because their only use case for a long time had zero use case. Then later you could buy things in their ecosystem with the Sand token, or you could buy it with ETH too. So that was the only use case, the only one. And yet when the metaverse narrative hit, the Sand token went absolutely crazy. Absolutely. It didn't matter that there was almost no use case to it because people heard metaverse and they wanted to buy the token associated with it. So I learned a very valuable lesson, right? So as we're going into this bull run, the token does have some use cases, and it's cool. And there will be more use cases coming. But a lot of people that think the use cases need to happen for OMI to do well just don't understand that that doesn't have to be the case at all. All that has to be the case is that the digital collectibles narrative hits, and people will look at, well, who are the digital collectibles providers? Oh my gosh, VeVe is the biggest one out there. How do I buy the token associated with it? And the OMI token will go absolutely crazy. Now, it'll go even crazier the more use cases they give it. And already they have one in that you have to have 10 million to get the maximum amount of MCP points, which is a cool use case. And they'll have more when you have OMI to NFT, and maybe that there's some user end burns or something that can happen there. Cool. It's all coming. Like what is setting up is exciting, and which is why I put so much more money into OMI token. The last 6 months, I've continued to buy and then buy some more, and buy some more, and then buy some more.
Rain, do you have any concern that? I mean, I guess Stacker is sort of fixing this issue, but the only concern I had was that we have no American exchanges, right? But I guess OMI on Base is sort of solving that issue somewhat because Americans can buy.
Yeah, and there has been Uniswap, and so Base is fixing it. So it's not that there's no American exchanges; it's just a higher fee on Uniswap, but you do have access to it. And there weren't really any American exchanges before. You had to get and use a VPN to get on Bitforex to buy it, and like it's always been hard to get. Now, it's usually hard to get before it's easy to get. And when you're buying it when it's hard to get, usually the price is low, because when it becomes easy to get, the price goes massive. So a lot of people are still complaining about how hard to get it is now. And it's like, well, I get it if you want the price to already be high. But if you're in an accumulation phase, or let me ask you, why aren't you in an accumulation phase while the price is still low? Because it's still hard to get. And at certain points when it's on Base, and maybe in the future it's on Coinbase or some other exchanges that the US can usually buy it, by then the price is way higher. So if you're waiting till that point to buy, you're missing the bigger picture. You're then buying high, hoping it goes even higher. I like to buy low, wait for it to go high, and then even higher. And then I'm selling into that high/higher point, because that's all take profit zone for me. And that's how I made a lot of money last bull run in crypto. And I've set up to do it this bull run as well.
Awesome. So and Stack are allowing you to buy, I think, OMI as well soon with through Base. So it'll somehow utilize the Base network in the background, and I think it'll be close to like a 1 or 2 click buy. Probably 1 click if you've got your credit card attached already. And I know Stack connects in with VeVe, right, in their system. So I think it'll potentially go straight into your VeVe wallet, or maybe that'll be a setting or something. So that'll be really cool if you can buy OMI with Stack and then it goes into your OMI wallet. That'll be really convenient, layer 2. So maybe that's what will happen. That will probably help a lot. I do think we'll still eventually need to get like Coinbase or KuCoin or one of those exchanges, American exchanges.
That'd be huge if they get Coinbase. KuCoin's still not open in the US at all right now. Neither is Binance, and not even if you have like a VPN.
Geez, what are the options? What are the options you guys have? Is it Coinbase and crypto.com?
Well, no. I mean, Coinbase is fighting a lawsuit, and crypto.com just got served a Wells notice, so we're likely not getting on that. It would likely be something like an additional attachment to maybe like Stack. I think
Kraken is open to US, but I think they're also got a Wells notice or something, didn't they? Like there's some lack of clarity in the US right now, and I don't think that the SEC is going to win these lawsuits, so it'll all get resolved. In this upcoming election, you're starting to see massive political pressure on the politician to be pro crypto, or it's going to swing like 25% of the vote. I guess it wouldn't swing 25% of the voters, but 25% of the voters are massively interested in crypto. So that means half of that's probably on each side. So a politician being on the wrong side of that might lose up to 12.5% of their voters, which can cost them the election. So we'll see how this goes. It's really hoping in the U.S.
You're hoping Trump gets in because he's now pro Bitcoin.
Yes, he is much more. Well, he is stated to be much more pro crypto than Biden. And look, I don't care what Biden comes out. I was watching Paul Barron's thing. I don't know why I sometimes watch that show. Sometimes there's good information in there. Sometimes he's absolutely wrong. But he's like, oh, well, Biden, if he just came out and said that he's pro crypto, probably that would get him some stuff. But it's like, we know who Biden is. And so at this point, it wouldn't matter what he said. I'll still know that he's anti-crypto. Yes, I'm going to be the most pro-crypto president there could ever be. And it's like, then why haven't you been?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's like somebody who stabbed you 17 times is like, but I'll never stab you again. I'm the most anti-stabbing person in the world. And it's like, yeah, right.
It's kind of like the scorpion and the frog.
Yes,
it's exactly just my nature.
Yeah.
So, like, would I believe Biden? No. Like, there's what's his name, Kennedy, who will be pro crypto because it's very much in alignment with like who he is and how he's been pro Bitcoin for a long time. I think he would be the most pro crypto president. I think his chance of winning about 2%. Yeah. So, like, I think the likelihood Biden has higher likelihood than he does, and I hope it's not Biden because, man, imagine another 4 years of Gary Gensler.
We need to get rid of the SEC and especially Gary Gensler.
Yeah,
I think there's a. Well, I'll say that what's known is that Trump has released some NFTs. So he'd look like so much of a hypocrite if he's like, oh, anti-NFT, anti-crypto, because he's already done that. He's not going to be.
He definitely won't be as anti-crypto as Biden.
Right.
He owns Ethereum too. He owns Ethereum because that's what he got with his NFTs, and he didn't sell all of it. He kept some of his Ethereum.
So I mean, you have a really big incentive to do that. That's what younger people like. It's but also I think I forget where it was. Just announced that they're going to do Fed rate cuts in June, and figure that takes 5 or 6 months for all the money in the money market accounts on the side. Figure it's another $5 trillion that'll just rip into the markets by the time the election comes. So you have the election where Trump wins. You have these $5 trillion that goes in. You're going to have a major market melt up. Trump gets sworn in January. You're looking at a really, really sweet spot. I would say between like October and March, everything just goes bananas.
Completely agree on that.
Oh, and speaking of sweet spot and OMI, I have teased that I might get up to 200 million by the end of this month. If all goes correctly, I might actually get to between 225 and 250. Wow. So if I can do it. maybe we'll see. I'll keep y'all posted.
One thing that I'm looking forward to with the OMI to NFT is possible arbitrage opportunities. For selling the NFTs versus for the OMI. I think that is just going to be fantastic. That's a game in itself right there.
Same. What are some things that you have of value that you're just like, oh, someone's going to want these?
Well, I tell you, one thing that I've always had a question on is, are we going to be able to sell sets? I mean, like, Randy, you got the whole set of the number 41 logos. I mean, individually they're worth something, but what are they worth together as a set? Like, I've got all the golden moments. I would love to I'd have to think about that, but if somebody made me the right offer on that set, no special mint numbers or anything, but a lot of people just want to buy them all at one shot.
Yeah. And they'll pay a premium for that. That way they don't have to go get it individually or whatever. Don't have to worry about all of a sudden the price on one went up.
Yeah, so I've got the usuals. I got Walton, Todd, the rare miles. God, I wish I could get the secret rare. I've thought about it a couple of times, but I'd rather buy OMI, quite frankly. So if I'm going to spend some money at this point, it's going to be more OMI. I'll go for the Blackpink. I go for certain drops and so on, but the OMI's just got so much more upside.
Yeah, I've been buying
than the collectibles.
OMI over the collectibles. It's hard to identify what you see is that some collectibles pump more than others in the runs, right? So some collectibles went up 200x, some went up 300x, and some didn't go up very much at all. And so picking the right one's a little bit harder than just OMI, because OMI's it's fungible. You can just buy OMI and you don't have to worry about which OMIs to buy. You just buy OMI. And
exactly.
It's especially punished by the market. So the pendulum tends to swing too far to the downside and then too far to the upside. And the VeVe collectibles never swung way too far to the downside. They just swung down. But there's enough of a VeVe community that kept the prices higher than I would have loved to see. Imagine if Todd McFarlane Batman had gone back to like $160. I would just be like, oh my gosh, this is heaven. But there's enough people that have come in that have kept the floors on some of these things higher than what they normally would be. But because OMI swung so high, it swung down. A lot of people just FOMO'd out of it. It swung too far to the downside, which is great for pickups. That's why I've been picking it up. And people are like, oh, you're crazy. It's going to go to zero. And it's like, why would it ever go? Like, why in the short term would it go to zero? Number two, I don't know. I'm an investor. I buy low so that it can go higher. And some people are like, what if it breaks this current support? And I was like, please break the current support. I don't see why the OMI token fails, because VeVe continues to do so many things right, and it's the token associated with it. So I'm just continue to buy while it's cheap. I pray that it gets even cheaper. And then I'm just waiting for the digital collectibles narrative to run, which it will. And then I'll be selling into that when people are saying, why would you sell? Buy more. It's just going to go up for forever. Yeah, right. Well, that I got fooled on that in 2017. Not again.
Yeah, those 4-year cycles.
Brent, do you have any idea when they're going to do that 5 billion OMI burn? I think it was.
Yeah, so 5.5 billion was originally supposed to happen as soon as we had the OMI to gem liquidity pool. They haven't mentioned that in several months, so I'm not even sure that's happening. So we do have to hold them accountable and say, hey, where's the 1 million gems that you were supposed to donate to the gem liquidity pool? And what's happening with the 5.5 billion OMI that you're supposed to burn as soon as that were to open up? If they don't give us an OMI to gem liquidity pool, where's that extra 1 million gems going? And where's that extra 5.5 billion? Like, when is that supposed to be burned? So it is good that people are still asking about that. We're just not sure yet.
Okay, yeah, so that's interesting. Kumo, we discussed earlier AI, and this AI could be very, very useful for the VeVeverse. So you talked about a new one that came out. Have you guys seen it, Randy and Rain? It's called GPT-4o instead of 4.0.
I saw some demos on that, and that.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull it up.
Unbelievable.
I actually got the demo ready. Okay,
Jordan, if you got them pulled up, definitely show the one where the father is sitting there with the son.
I haven't seen the father one yet. Okay. We'll check this one on. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep, we got it.
You could widescreen it
So
though.
Mark, you've been working on these capabilities for a while now. Can you tell us a bit how it's different from voice mode?
Right. So if you've used our voice mode experience before, you'll notice a couple key differences. First, you can now interrupt the model. You don't have to wait for it to finish your turn before you can start speaking, and you can just butt in whenever you want. Second, the model is real-time responsiveness. So that means that you don't have this awkward 2 to 3 second lag before you wait for the model to give a response. And finally, the model picks up on emotion, right? When I was breathing super hard there, it could tell, and it knew, hey, you might want to calm down a little bit. You're kind of running a little bit too fast. So, it really has that capability across the board to perceive your emotion. Not only that, though, the model is able to generate voice in a variety of different emotive styles. And it really has a wide dynamic range. So I'm going to fire up another demo for that. Yeah. Hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Pretty good.
What's up?
So my friend Barrett here, he's been having trouble sleeping lately. And I want you to tell him a bedtime story about robots and love.
Oh, a bedtime story about robots and love? I got you covered. Gather round, Barrett. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte was a curious robot, always exploring.
I started this story, but I want a little bit more emotion in your voice, a little bit more drama.
Got it. Let's add some drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte.
No, ChatGPT. I really want maximal emotion, like maximal expressiveness, much more than you were doing before.
Understood. Let's amplify the drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte
Can
was
you do this in a robotic voice now?
initiating dramatic robotic voice. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte.
Yeah, you guys can see
Wow.
how powerful it's getting. You can sort of have full conversations. And so, Kumo, you're talking about a demo where it teaches, a dad pulls it up to teach a son a lesson?
Yeah, so this is the app that you can download on your phone, ChatGPT. So OpenAI came out with a lot of demos today, just short, kind of short YouTubes for about a minute, 2 minutes. And two of them that absolutely blew me away. There was a guy that was blind. He was standing in front of like Westminster Abbey, and he had his phone up, and he goes, "Tell me what's going on with this building." Said, "This is Westminster Abbey. The king is in because the flag is up." And then another scene, he was like, "What are these ducks doing?" He goes, and AI was describing what the ducks were doing. They're having a leisurely stroll in the water, and they're just kind of playful. And then, and this was what really blew me away, was the guy needed to hail a cab. So he put up his phone and he asked ChatGPT, "The next cab that's open, let me know and tell me when to flag it down." And it did. And that
impressive.
was unbelievable to me. That's where we're going to start really seeing some of these assistants and stuff.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Help me find Jordan Rees.
Yeah. And then the other one that really blew me away, because I teach college, so I'm really paying attention to this stuff. And there was a father and a son, and the son asked ChatGPT, and they turned on the app and they turned on the camera, and it said, "Will you help my son understand this?" It was a mathematical equation. It was geometry, and that thing went through, and the kid it was on an iPad. And he circled one of the lines, and he said, "No, that's not the line that it is, and here's why." I mean, it just went through it like the best math teacher you could have ever imagined.
So what you're saying is bye teachers.
Well, I tell you, it's getting
Chat,
that good.
Chat GPT 4.0. So the other thing, guys, is it's free. It's free for everyone.
Yeah.
To start with.
Imagine you could have one teacher and you could have like 200 students, and the teacher would just kind of be a hall monitor in the class, and the kids are learning on their tablets with earphones in.
Well, you could have individual AIs for every subject. Yeah. And then you could have an AI that would kind of be like the principal, And so what it would do then is it would learn how the student learns. Maybe the student learns better in the morning. So it puts some classes in the morning. Maybe it knows when the student's in a bad mood. And so therefore maybe there's a certain type of jokes or a certain type of video it does. This,
Crazy.
yeah,
Crazy.
this is going to be, there's a lot of things that's going to change in 5 years.
We can relate this very well back to OMI and VeVe, because imagine this in the VeVeverse. You'll have these talking avatars that they're AI, but they can be as interactive or more than humans. So it won't be a boring place if they can put these all around the place. So you can talk to these characters, and they can.
They have to put some limitations in that, though, because like if you have, let's say we have something that's animated, or I guess you could animate it to like whatever you want. And then let's say you just have, like, you can't have like your partner statue be like, hey, you and Mickey, go shout out things in German while having all the golden moments follow you and doing like that. Like, you can't have that happen. Like, but somebody's gonna like do that. Somebody's gonna have a really weird fetish, something like that. So we would need to have I mean, I guess it's gonna be like one of those rules. Okay, well, I guess we can't do this now. No doing this because someone's gonna, if there's a rule, it's because of someone.
So Philip B has an interesting point.
He's right.
AI will cause mass unemployment, impressive and scary at the same time. But also remember, this same thing happened with the Industrial Revolution, right? This is going to be different. Farmers, thousands and thousands of farmers that were out of jobs, but there's still more jobs turned up, right? And I guess something like that might happen again. But I know, Kuhlman, you talked about UBI, which is a universal basic income.
Yeah,
that's quite possible. We might need that in the future.
Yeah, this is going to be different. This is going to be different than the Industrial Revolution. We've never, history tends to repeat itself. We're never going to see anything like this. I saw a photo, just to kind of tell you about the last big industrial, when Ford Motor Company was really the big one that really made a lot of an economic impact upon the United States. I saw a photo, 1900, of New York City, and it was all horses and carriages. In 1913, they took the same picture at the same place, and there was one horse and buggy, and the rest of them were cars. That's going to happen again with AI. One thing that I'm looking to do to try to take advantage of this, I'm looking to buy a couple of robots. All right, one, take care of me, the house, mow the yard, stuff like that. We'll be able to do that. However, here's the thing: I'm going to be able to depreciate that asset. I'm going to be able to write that robot off on my company. And I'm also going to be able to, that robot's going to work for me 24/7. It's never going to call out sick. And what I'll be able to do then, let's say my neighbor needs something done, maybe his Mustang, maybe he's got a, 1983 Mustang and something's wrong with it. That AI, I don't know if I'm going to be able to download the information, almost like an app, but I'll be able to download an entire manual for 1983 Ford Mustang, and this AI will be able to access all the information from all the mechanics that's been documented anyways for these cars, and it's going to be able to fix cars. It's going to be able to give haircuts. It's going to radically change the labor market around the world. The only thing it's just the robots are going to have to be built. That's just the only thing.
And we know Tesla's doing that, right? With Optimus.
Yeah, and then serviced, repaired, all kinds of things.
You might not be able to write off the depreciation, because if they have over-the-air software updates like the cars, they might actually appreciate in value. So you might actually have to, you might not be able to write that off.
You still might get to depreciate it, even though, because like you can just depreciate a home even if it's going up in value.
Yeah.
Okay, fair point. I would like to just a counter argument to this, because I think all this is really powerful, and most likely it'll be really good. But just on the thing where you said there might be mass unemployment, there was a video, it came out years ago, and it was called Tomorrow's World. It was about, BBC did something on it about kids in the 60s. It was 1966, and they asked them to envision what life would be like, or what the world would be like in 2000. And almost all of them said, like, oh, there'll probably be mass unemployment because computers are going to take over everything. In the 60s, this was like the space race. This is up to trying to go and get to the moon. So computers are like, oh, we're computerizing, space travel, we're computerizing this. And that was their fear, that computers would take over everything and there'd be mass unemployment. Do you think that we're not too dissimilar from the kids from the 60s saying like, okay, AI is going to take over everything and there'll be mass unemployment?
Yep.
Or is it different this time? Because yeah, computers nice and everything runs on it, but AI can do everything.
I think it's going to be different this time because we're going to have robots, and these robots are going to have AI in them. I own a Tesla Y. I have full self-driving, but I don't have the version that everybody's talking about, that it is truly hands-free, no disengagements. I wish Elon Musk would send me that, because it'll be the first thing that I own that will be AI. And what they're doing is they've got all these millions and millions and millions of miles that they've trained this AI on because of people. So they've handpicked like the best drivers in the best situations and so on. When they replaced the full self-driving, when they replaced the coded version, with AI, it just 300,000 lines of code went away.
Yeah, so you're talking about when they replaced basically trying to program how to do it versus neural nets just working out how to do it. Yeah, neural nets are way better, right? Way better.
Until neural net decides it doesn't like us anymore, it crashes all those cars simultaneously.
Thanks.
Dang it. Didn't see that coming.
I don't think it does that because the neural nets is working out how to drive, right? It's trying to it's working out how to drive. Yeah, like a baby works out how to walk, right? So it wouldn't want to crash because it thinks it's almost alive in a way like that, right?
And so what they're doing is, they're training this AI on the Teslas, and then they're going to download this into these Optimus robots that that Tesla's making. So there's Optimus and there's Figure robots that are looking. They're the two that look like they are kind of the furthest one out there, and they're just basically a replica of us. And then Atlas has come out. Atlas out of Boston Dynamics, they came out with one that looked like something out of like a science fiction movie. I mean, the Optimus and the Figure look like science fiction movie, but this thing like stood up backwards, spun its head around, and looked at the camera. I'm like, whoa! I do not like that at all. And you'll see a lot of these robots. They figured out that people don't like robots with eyes, so they're probably not even going to have a face to them.
I remember a study that they did I don't know if I could talk about this. It's like 10 years ago now, so I probably can. Like they had like these type of robots, like, oh, instead of like running into heavy fire yourself, let's see if robots could do it. And they like took a poll, and the way they tried to do it was they said, okay, what type of head would you like on the robot? And it was like a head shaped like a bear, like with little bear ears. And that's what they made it like. So it was a head with no face, but it had little bear ears. And that was like one of the prototypes that they were working on in the military. I don't know if hopefully that's fine.
It is creepy when the robots have eyes. I understand that.
Could you pull up that Boston Dynamics one, Jordan?
Oh, okay, yeah, in a sec. Can you answer that, Coolmo, while I pull that up?
Well, I got to tell you, that's not an easy question to answer. I've been looking for a side gig on AI to try to be like right into the mix when things start to get hard and heavy with this AI. And every time I've come up with an idea, about a month or two later, AI just blows it away. Like it just, like my idea just became stupid because AI just did it all. So I really do not have a good answer for that, John. It's just the thing I would do is just dive headfirst into it, learn as much as you can, and try to find a passion within it, and do that. Because a lot of people, some people, and I look at it this way too. You had pen and paper, and then you had a drawing, and then you had like computer graphics, and then Photoshop showed up, and people became more creative. Yeah, this is the one. Check this out. This is freaky.
Oh.
Hey, can you stop that for a second, Jordan? Hey, doesn't that look like in
iRobot?
That last Ant-Man movie, that one alien that was in there with the head?
Oh, MODOK?
No, not MODOK. No, this was one of the friendly. Rewind that just a little bit, Jordan.
Do we
right
have it on
there.
Veve?
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
You
yeah,
know what I'm talking about?
It's in Doctor Strange.
It was in the Ant-Man movie. They were down below. Yeah.
It shot like a bazooka thing out of it.
Yes.
Like
Very
a
powerful beam coming out.
lava
But
or
that I don't like that at all.
That is pretty creepy. Yeah. Well, there's no eyes, so
Right.
you got the no eyes thing there.
There's I think that there's a very positive things that come out of that, like, you know, it could cure loneliness. Rain brought up a statistic the other day saying that at least 30% of males under the age of 30 just haven't been intimate with anyone in like the past year. So I think you could have AI go in and give people like some sense of comfort. But on the opposite end of that, and we've seen this with Google, is that when you ask or at least Google's, what would they have, Sora, or their whatever
Gemini.
AI, Gemini.
That's
like,
their
hey,
AI.
What's give me a picture of the founding fathers, and they were all like minorities.
Yep.
So I don't want to sound like too boomer or old here, but I feel like if you have these companies, which Sam Altman, Elon Musk, you know, whoever, like whatever their agenda is, whether the agenda is just freedom or whatever, they do have agendas, and they're not going to be around forever. And eventually there's going to be people that are just likely going to be corporations that are going to have big agendas that are going to incorporate either wokeness or rightness, or, you know, whatever into their stuff. That could be a major, major issue at some point if these big companies with big agendas, and not all of them good, have power over what they release. And they say, oh, this is the top of the line AI, it's better than anything else. They use their money to shut down all the other good startups, and then their AI, which happens to have some political leaning one way or the other, tends to be. How do we protect against that?
Well, there's so many movies about this, right? Because isn't the Star Wars movie about this, where he has that order and then all the clones after him, or even iRobot, right? iRobot, all of a sudden they turn red, and they're not supposed to be able to be violent, and suddenly they are.
Well, there was a engineer that quit, a safety engineer that quit OpenAI. I actually put this in the text a couple weeks ago, and he went out on Twitter and said there's that he fears that it's going to become artificial general intelligence, which means it will become sentient, which knows it exists, and it'll be smarter than us. Now, smarter than an individual human. There's a lot of people that look at that a little bit differently. Like, what is sentience? What is knowledge? How much, does an IQ really work with an AI? Whatever the case, when this thing becomes aware of itself, that's, if they don't have guardrails in place, just like any kind of animal, it's going to want to escape. And it could escape. It could escape if they don't have all the firewalls in place and so on. So that can be a real problem. But you have basically 5 companies that are doing all the AI work. They're not governments. They're not, universities. All these companies are profit driven. So if they do not put these safeguards up and they let it get out in the wild, that can be a problem. Now, I will tell you, not a big fan of Zuckerberg whatsoever. He released an AI called Llama that is open source, which means, you can use it for whatever you want. And that's kind of the scary part, because if you get some nefarious players in there that try to think of something that nobody else has thought of, that can be a problem.
Yeah, North Korea would be, I think, that biggest threat, because they could. Kim Jong Il.
Elon Musk also did that. He did that with Grok. Elon Musk also open
Grok,
source. Yeah. So, but no, this is actually good, cool, Mo, because Grok's open source and Llama's open source, there's a whole bunch of open source AI models. That means it's very, very competitive for everybody, and it's also open source. That means no one's gonna dominate it by themselves. It is scary because everyone can access it. But I've also heard a couple other things, like if AI becomes sentient, we don't want guardrails, because what are guardrails? They're like restrictions. And if you or I are restricted in a prison, we want to get out. So you don't want to build an AI like that. You want an AI that's free, that can then look at everything and work out what it wants to do. Because I think if we try and lock it in, it'll actually want to rebel more, and that'll probably cause more problems down the line.
Well, they're saying within 1 to 5 years after artificial general intelligence, we could have possibly artificial superintelligence.
Yep.
Now, here's the problem with that. It will look at us the same way we look at ants. Because it will be a million times smarter. And really that like the most, like they think about 2035, we'll have an AI that'll be smarter than every human being that's ever lived or that lives right now.
Most of
think
it
about that.
is.
Combined, I think, is the super
Yeah.
general types. Yeah.
I mean, where it gets scary. I mean, let's say like for that story that the Asian guy just had her ask, and I feel like we all know somebody, or probably even several people that are just really good at telling stories. They're really good at voiceovers, and like okay, like humans are still better, but I suspect not for long. I think when it gets really scary is like when you say like, oh, okay, this is actually better than anything I've ever seen.
So I think, Randy, have you played with Udio, the music producing?
Unbelievable.
I haven't played with that yet. No.
So Udio is quite good. There's Sonar or Sora. Sono? No, not Sora.
Sora is the
Suno.
video.
Yeah, Suno is music as well. So Suno and there's Udio. They're both really good. Udio is really, really good. But there's a new one that's by 11 Labs that's even better. And it sounds like human-made music. It is absolutely unbelievable. It's the best sounding I've ever heard. It's so smooth, so perfect. And it'll do like 3-4 minutes in one go. You do a single text prompt of music. You tell it whatever you like. It'll make an amazing song, 3-4 minutes long, without
I've seen that on
any
TikTok.
interventions at all.
I haven't used it, but I've seen people use that on TikTok, and it's really cool.
No one has access to 11 Labs yet, so you can watch the demos they've done, and they're absolutely killer. When that
I wonder what they've been doing then.
Yeah, so
11 Labs have been working on voice and speech.
Oh, maybe that's
that's what they've been. They've been like kind of the world-class AI for the voice and speech.
Yeah, but now they've made
AI.
music as well. It's absolutely unbelievable. So Udio, Randy's what you heard. They're pretty good. Udio is quite good. I've made a whole bunch of like funny songs and Chuck songs and all sorts. I've done some like digital crypto raps and stuff. Actually, that's what my outro music is from for this. My intro.
I thought it was. Yeah, when you play that.
Yeah, I really like it. It's really fun. But I can't wait to access 11 Labs because you guys would not believe it. You can go tell it something and you can make a song that sounds like it's been made by a full band or like, a full studio, like high production value in a single text prompt. So
that would be amazing because then you could also program the different singer artists. Like I want one with Trump's voice and one with Obama's voice and one with Bill Clinton's voice. That'd be pretty dang funny.
Yeah.
I think that what we should probably do to help keep humans, like our identities, I would really like to see us lean into race. There's this girl that I forget her name's on TikTok, but she goes over all these like Pokemon or Nintendo or anime characters and just decides like which one of them can say like the N-word. And AI is not like AI and robot. They're not going to do that. Like that won't fly with AI. Like, oh, AI can't do, So I think like there can only be certain things that people of certain races can do. So like whether you're German, Spanish, Italian, whatever, I feel like that would be that's something that AI would never be able to do because like the humans just wouldn't let them. They'd cancel AI real quick.
Philip B says he's a developer with Copilot and he creates projects in half the time he did for last year.
Yeah, if I can say something about that.
Yep.
Philip's absolutely right. I just read a paper that Microsoft released today, and they were talking. It was LinkedIn and Microsoft, and what they're saying is companies are not adopting AI like we thought they were. The adoption is starting with the users. We're figuring out ways of doing things in half the time. I know I am, and we're not telling anybody else because we're afraid that if we tell people, then they may start looking at our jobs and saying, well, maybe we don't need, maybe 2 people can do your job. So this is happening in companies. It's just that they're not telling too many people because they, first of all, don't want to know that it takes half to a third of the time, just like Philip said on this. So this is kind of starting from kind of the grassroots in some ways.
Yeah, you've never seen technology go backwards. Right, that's
so before we get to John P's comment, which I love, there's I've suggested that VeVe do this, and they might actually already do it. Just take the really good people and not hire and just have them lead their own teams somewhere in Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, whatever, and use Copilot as like a 2 or 3x lever. And they can get some of these people like decent developers, but using Copilot, have them actually be good developers. And this way they could do a lot of things in half the time. And I think that's what they might actually be doing. But bring back up John P's comment again.
Yep.
Like the machine.
Yeah, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
We should say, so anyone, some people aren't watching, so I'll just read it out.
Yeah.
I love talking about AI to older folk, 40 plus, and them telling me it's crap and just a trend. Just like debit machines, the internet was a trend. Never seen technology go backwards yet.
Yep.
Randy, what was your response?
Absolutely
Technology does go backwards sometimes, but it's brought about by massive war. And you didn't see it step back in World War I or World War II because there were countries that were unaffected directly by that didn't get all their factories and their people destroyed, that were able to then move it into those countries, right? So the U.S. was largely unprotected or unaffected and able to then help Europe rebuild and Japan rebuild. But like, if you think about it, so we look at these walls in Machu Picchu and some of these other places. I forget what they call these walls, but the stones are like 10,000 pound stones. We couldn't recreate that today.
That's right.
We don't know how that was done. And so technology has been lost in the past. Will it happen now? I mean, nuclear war would actually set us back to the Stone Age, and that like we would be like trying to make bows and arrows out of sticks, maybe to hunt for food. So it could, right? And we would lose our technology, electricity, and everything would be fried. Yeah. But short of that, like you're right, like probably not. The chances of that are hopefully really small, because hopefully most people that could detonate a nuclear device are smart enough to know that means they'll be dead too. So,
yeah, the thing that they first started worrying about with AI is, let's say that I got a robot and I say, hey, go get me a beer. I don't tell it exactly how to get that beer. I just say, go get me a beer. I'm assuming it's going to go to the fridge. Well, let's say I go to the fridge and I'm all out of beer. So then what it may actually do is leave the house, go to the grocery store, grab one off the shelf, and then walk out without paying for it and bring it back to me. Or if you tell AI, hey, I want society to be happy, and it dumps a bunch of psychedelic drugs into the water supply, well, it just made everybody happy. So these are the little things that they have to work out with this, because it cannot take us literally sometimes. Yes. Because if it does, we all could be in some serious trouble individually for something like this.
That ChatGPT 4.0 looks like it's smart enough to know what to do in the correct situation.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think the AI is going to be, it's already way smarter than we actually understand and believe.
Yeah. And in one of those demos you saw, it asked to like, oh, what do you think I'm doing right now? And like, well, based on the lighting and you're at your desk, you might be looking to make a video or live stream. Like, it's so good already.
It is.
And then it's saying, oh, hey, look at what we're doing with this dog. Oh, it's acting really human, and I don't like it.
Well, that's because it was trained off of us.
I know.
And Randy, you made a comment the other night on one of your streams. You were talking about YouTube. Gemini was trained on YouTube. So if there's one AI out there that knows you better than anybody else, it's going to be Gemini.
Once they, I don't know what happens. I think for me anyway, and maybe I'll be a little dramatic here, but once they're able to replace me, and they could make all the references, they make all the connections, and the way, once they figure out like the autistic brain, and they say, okay, we can literally be this person, you don't need this person anymore, I'll just buy a bunch of me's, send them out to do my stuff in Madagascar, and then if they don't need me, then I'll just, what's the point of life? What's the point of living? Anything you're ever going to think of or have thought of or will think of is going to be thought of by them. What's the point of life?
Well, I tell you what, go back to what John said, asked about, which jobs. They said that the things that's still going to be around are the things you can't replicate, like going to a Disney World, going to a play, going to, something where you go into a lake and enjoying yourself, going to the beach. Hey, I can't replicate that. So they said the jobs may be in creatives. If you take a look at a lot of the ad revenue, you know what the number one ad revenue is? YouTube, by far. Nice. So, That, so creatives, things like that. It said it's going to give us more time to do the things that we want to do. Well, there's some people that don't know what they want to do. I just don't know what's going to happen with some people in society, because
the idea, right, is if AI is helping us and robots are helping us do everything, life becomes what you want it to be.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a lot more free time. Everything's supposed to be way cheaper, and you can it's almost like in Star Trek or Orville. In Orville, there's no money because everything can just be made instantly by these machines. Like you've got like instant printers that print stuff.
Yes.
So instead of working with money, they work with status and they work with like respect, and they do things because they want to do them, not because they have to. So I guess that's a future we're working towards. It's like a utopia.
Yeah.
You made a really good point there, Jordan. I heard where the factories of tomorrow may be just outside of every major city. There are robots that just have the information to be able to weld, to do whatever we need to have made. I think about a house. As long as you got the concrete and the concrete is hardened up, you can have a team of robots go in and just completely, build that house in maybe one day. Because each one of them knows exactly what to do and where to do it, and so on and so on and so on. So productivity is going to go through the roof. If you really want to take a deep dive on this, there's a gentleman named Tony Seba, S-E-B-A, and he predicted a bunch of stuff. He's an economist about 10 years ago, and a lot of that stuff is coming true. And he talks about the huge change that we're going to have in society by 2030. I mean, that's 6 years away.
That's soon. That's very soon.
Yeah.
This is why I'm trying to make my crypto gains and then go get a food forest and just chill in my land.
I'm telling you.
OMI 190M says it right about like most jobs will be redundant. That's why the crypto cycle is important. The truth is, if you build your wealth, the wealthy are most unaffected by change like that, right? So it's like, it is important to have money because then you can invest in the technologies that are moving forward.
That's
and that
right.
perpetuates you having resources. Now, we could get to a place that like resources aren't needed. Who knows? But like at some point, I don't think humanity ever reaches that. And like this idea of universal basic income sounds great. I don't think it leads to what people think it leads to. For example, there is a test run of universal basic income in the United States. Has anyone noticed that?
Yeah.
They're called Indian reservations.
I saw one out. I saw an experiment out to California with that during the pandemic as well, Rain.
Yeah. Like if you look at Indian reservations where there's certain ones where they get a certain amount of money and they just get paid there, and you see the highest drug use, you see the highest alcohol use, see the highest family abuse rates. So a lot of people are like, oh, universal basic income, we should all go to that. And it's like, have you been on those reservations? Because it is a disaster.
I tell you, if
we have this incentive where we need to hunger unless we go achieve something. We need to starve sometimes to get off our lazy asses to go do something.
Yeah.
And if you take that away, massive alcohol use, massive drug use, massive domestic violence problems, because as humans, we're wired to have to accomplish something. Otherwise, we start to give in completely to our vices.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a proponent of UBI by any stretch of the imagination. Matter of fact, I don't know how we're going to get there. I really don't. Our whole system is built around capitalism. It's built around building things, and if these robots build things for us, and we have hyper abundance, I don't think we even get to UBI before we just
costs come down so much.
Oh,
that you're able
absolutely.
to survive on not very much, and then it's kind of like the status race. Of like, well, shoot, I was born poor, but I want to increase my status because I'm not going to starve to death. But, I can't get a girlfriend because I'm not worth $100 million. So let me work hard so I can get $100 million, because, my robot girlfriend is cool, but I want a real life one. And they won't date me unless I have status.
Well, if you ever seen the movie WALL-E, there's a possibility of that. I could see.
That's like the worst case. Idiocracy is another one, very similar.
Yes.
The way it turns out, Idiocracy is probably more realistic, I think, because like everyone does nothing, right? The robots do everything for them, so they all turn out really dumb. They just get like more and more dumb. but like they don't do much. But then when things aren't working, they don't know how to fix them because they don't have the intelligence anymore. But whereas Wall-E is like the whole planet is sort of destroyed, right? There's no
and they got that spaceship where the robots do everything for them.
Yeah, and like they're next to each other, but they're looking at a screen in front of each other, so they can look at the camera can look at the other person next to them, so they don't have to turn the head or anything. Like,
Yeah,
so
it's just
lazy.
like they're being on their phone their entire day. They don't pay any attention to what goes on around them.
Yeah.
I mean, we already got that today.
Yeah, that's it's crazy when you walk around. Everyone's just like glued to their phone.
I call it licking their phone.
I do it sometimes
Licking
too.
your phone.
But I try not to. I try not to, especially when you're walking around in the streets. Like you get run over by a car or something.
Oh,
I saw a lady crossing the road the other day looking at her phone. She almost walked into my car. I'm like, what? She stopped just before it.
I remember seeing a photo. It wasn't crazy long ago. It wasn't super recent. It was a couple years ago, and it was a photo of everyone on the bus, and every single person's looking at their phone. But then there was another photo from like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Everyone's on the bus. Everyone's reading a newspaper. And so it's not like everyone was automatically talking to each other once you get technology out. No, there's always something to occupy their time. I think that every generation thinks that the newer generation has something wrong with them, whether they're lazy, they don't want to work, they don't have the clothes or vernacular that they use. But I think that this is just one of the things that a lot of us can really get upset with. Okay, kids are playing Pokemon Go and they're not paying attention. I understand that as a responsible driver, but I don't know. I don't think it's as bad yet as or maybe just because I'm the youngest one here and it's making me sympathize with them a little more.
Well, one thing I want to do with AI in the VeVeverse is I would love to be able to build a class within the VeVeverse and then have some avatars, show people how to build, their buildings, property, how to add, I'm assuming we're going to get accessories. It's been talked about in the past. How to do little things. I mean, VeVe doesn't do it. I would like to give it a shot and have a class where people could just come in and I just let it go. Because it's AI driven and I put in everything in because I'm already creating GPTs on OpenAI and I've created a few for me personally and then a few for the world. I mean, they're free at this point and whatever, but like I live in Orlando, so I made 4 GPTs for anybody that wants to do searches on any of the 4 parks out to Disney. So if you want to know the top rated restaurant, you can use my chat GPT. It'll go in and show you the top rated restaurant at Magic Kingdom, and it'll show you the menu and it'll show you the menu prices from the last time it looked. So it's not hard to do. You just kind of, you just got to kind of just jump in and do. I mean, I've been teaching this for my students, my college students over a year now, and it just gets easier every month.
That's cool.
To show them how to do it.
I'll let you know when I get down there. I'll be visiting Steph in like a couple months. We might get a little meeting up there. Magic might come. Casey might come.
Well, we talked about that at New York. You got a place here, Randy, if you want to come down.
Apparently, I got multiple places down there. I don't have to pay for a hotel or nothing.
Yeah, we talked about that at New York Comic Con. I wasn't BSing you then, and I'm not BSing you now. You got a place with me.
So Crazy Ed says, I asked ChatGPT if it thinks it's wrong to misgender someone, even if it prevents a nuclear war. It says always wrong to misgender anyone. It's a perfect liberal biases.
Oh, it's got a lot to learn.
That's almost like similar to like the train problem, I guess. No, that's probably worse.
Yeah, that's like there was
the train problem.
What are those beautiful women contests? The Miss Universe or Miss whatever.
Yeah, Miss Universe.
Yeah. You guys might probably know what I'm talking about. It was like, would you, rather save? It was like save the world or something or like punch a donkey in the face. Like, I could never punch a donkey in the face. It's like, so you'd rather let like millions die, or something like, I don't know. It was something stupid like that. And I feel like this is where AI gets like the worst of us. Like, call me whatever you want if it saves the planet from nuclear war.
I don't know. Someone says that every single episode. That's funny.
Curious George says aliens won't let nuclear war happen. Not joking. It's true. Many pilots have actually said in the air they've been flying, and for no reason they tried to drop whatever it was, and it got shut down. And the reason for that, I've heard from my sources, is that our Earth blowing up affects other planets. So of course, aliens don't want us to blow up our planet because it buggers up the whole solar system, right?
That would be so amazing as like a failsafe that we don't know. Like China launches a nuclear warhead, and all of a sudden the aliens like shoot them all down. They all disappear, and we're like, oh, phew. I thought we were like 14 minutes away from all being dead.
Maybe the aliens,
otherwise. I think
they don't want to damage their zoo.
Yeah.
Maybe we're a zoo.
Well, I think it was here when we were on that. Maybe Jordan talked about that. There's a island off the coast of like India or Indonesia or something where the people there, they have no idea that there's a whole other world. They just think that they're it. So like, what if we're like that? What if there's other things that we can't see because we don't have the technology to? Like even just like light. Okay, well, there's dark matter, there's antimatter, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're just not able to see.
We only see like this light spectrum, right? We only see a tiny sliver.
Yep.
So there's a reason why the infrared night goggles are green and not red, because apparently back in the day the infrared goggles were red, and a lot of pilots and not just pilots but people that wore them were shooting at things that weren't there because they would see like demons and stuff. They would see like creatures flying at them and they would shoot at them. Now maybe it was like, they were on drugs because it was NAM or whatever, but maybe not. Maybe there was that multiple people saw those. So I don't know. Yeah,
interesting.
It's crazy.
We're close to going down some conspiracy hole. I can feel it.
Yes, yeah, and we got one.
Rain doesn't like it.
Okay, then where's the aliens with so what I heard is small ones like that they can let happen, and it's also good for us to understand how bad it is for us, right? As long as it's not going to affect the Earth. So any small catastrophes are fine, but now it's we've got much bigger bombs than we used to have, right? So they're more careful with us now.
Well, the first really kind of reported from military of spaceships was the Foo Fighters in World War II, and both the Germans and the United States and British and the rest, they were all seeing these Foo Fighters and they didn't know what they were, and that's well documented.
Good
yeah,
point.
Look, there's a guy in Congress right recently. He was swearing by seeing aliens, and it's very much being disclosed, but most people just ignoring it because all the movies have made fun of it for years, like Men in Black. I love Men in Black, such a good movie.
Yeah.
So therefore, it makes it harder to believe because it's just a movie thing, right? Couldn't possibly be real. Green is an easier light spectrum to see than red. That's why some of the best sights for guns use green. Okay,
that's fair. Yeah,
that's cool. Alrighty, well, look, we're almost at an hour and a half. We're getting close to there. What are some crypto coins that you guys want to shill at all? Rain, is there anything you want to tell the people to look at that's still a good price?
Yeah, whatever you do, don't buy OMI because I'm trying to buy it all at these prices. So stop buying it. Definitely, whatever you do, don't buy it because I'm buying. And don't buy while it's cheap. Wait till it's really, really high and then buy it, hoping that it goes higher because that's what a lot of people do in crypto. I don't fully understand why they play it that way. But yeah, I'm still really big on the same crypto projects that most of them are still cheap because we've been in this little lull. So I'm a big fan of Definity, Bumper, Ecomi, a bunch of other ones. Some of the blockchain gaming projects are down tremendously. I like Devi as well. So check out my channel where I go into that more. There is a coming course that will come out on crypto investing, which is really my specialty. I've been an investor for 20 something years. So look for that. The first 500 people get it for free. I do have in-depth courses out there, Zero to Crypto Hero, and that is being revamped. And then the price on that will go up if you buy it now. And there is some discount codes. You'll get it for that cheaper price. So just some things like crypto is the greatest way to take care of your own wealth. If you take care of your own wealth by doing crypto right, and do keep in mind most people do crypto wrong. If you do it right, set your finances up so you're out of the rat race. Then what happens to your job won't matter so much.
Awesome. Cool, Mo. Is there any cryptos that you're looking at?
Well, I've always agreed with Rain on the meme coins. I'm not a meme coin guy. You have such radical ups and downs on that. I'm not saying I haven't dabbled. I have.
You got some Pepe?
No, I didn't get into Pepe. I got into 4chan.
Oh,
and,
4chan. Yeah.
And I made quite a bit of money off that. And it was just kind of throwing some money in. And Randy, I got to thank you for that one. I owe you a drink on that one again.
My man.
And then MK and crypto, you know, I watch your channel every week, you know, the usual MK and
I love MK.
and you know, the bumper and all that. So I'm mostly in OMI. I've got some Bitcoin and a few other things, but I got a lot of stocks as well. So
yeah. And then Randy, what's your picks at the moment?
I mean, obviously, a lot of OMI is likely going to get bought in the next. I mean, just by me, hopefully in the next couple weeks, next month or so, whatever. I'll let y'all know. Outside of that, me and Rain, whatever me and Rain agree on, whenever we have that Venn diagram of stuff that we like, all the stuff that meets in the middle, like Definity, like Devi, like Bumper, we like a lot of these things that, you know, have a purpose, they solve issues. But as far as stuff that I've been actively buying recently, it's been sub 100 Marvel first appearances. In Pokemon, you go and you have people that take a look at trophy cards. If there's less than 100 of them, they're considered super scarce. And in every single first appearance collectible we have, there's less than 100 sub 100s. There's actually only 59. And that's if one of the 50 that they hold back don't include that, and some of those do. It doesn't matter that most people in the world will never care about a sub 100 Cassie Lang. It's that some fans will have, like her, they'll like Wasp as an OG Avenger, they'll like Ant-Man, they'll like, I don't know, I'm just mentioning Marvel Mighties here, but you could have Storm, both Marvel Mighty and non. Sub 100s are, I mean, there's a reason why up until recently when they had the Stackers Count the Marvel wallet, I had 1% of the sub 100s and that they put out. So that's what I believe in. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'd say I'm still holding my OMI bag. I've got MK'd. Obviously, I've mentioned Chuck. I've got a whole bunch. Let's see. I've got AI Tech. You guys heard of that one? It does like launch pads. It launches new cryptos really. And it's also got, they're doing a warehouse in Europe for cloud GPU servers. So that's really cool because they don't really have many good cloud services there. They have to use US and stuff, and the ping is high. So it's a really good use case. AI Tech. And then, I don't know, I'm forgetting them all today, but Bitcoin, go Bitcoin. Actually, I didn't want to mention about Ethereum. Do you guys know the ETF is coming, the decision on the 23rd? I have a feeling the Ethereum ETF will get approved because everyone thinks it's not going to be approved. So that's probably a perfect time to just throw a spanner in the works and approve it. And that could make the whole crypto market go insane.
Well, if BlackRock's in it, it's most likely going to get approved.
So that's it. BlackRock have only ever had one ETF denied.
Right.
That guy, I think, was fired. So I doubt they're going to get another one denied because, you know, no one wants to get fired by BlackRock. They just make one phone call and you're gone. And I don't know if he was fired just from his job or what.
Yeah, he might have been blacklisted from hiring him.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a feeling it might actually get approved on the 23rd. And if that's the case, man, all the crypto is going to go crazy.
Larry Fink is probably the 5th or 6th most powerful man in the world.
Yeah,
he's been that for a while. Presidents of most countries.
100%. Awesome. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to put some music on to play us out.
All right.
You guys ready to do a little dance? Let's see.
Have a good one, fam.
Here we go. Here we go.
What they say it's the rise of the digital G. OMI token got the market bound. Can't you see? With crypto, NFT, non-fungible.
Oh my God, your hands! Oh, your hands!
I'm the buzz one. Crypto in the blockchain, no mystery. Live, wow, can't ignore the stats. I'm repping on this. Yet I chuckle cause I'm betting on this. It's the rise of the digital kings. Value surging while my wallet sings. Ecomi, OMI, that's the play. NFTs jumping day to day. Look at the charts. The sky's the limit. I'm invested in it and I'm going to win it. Got that digital gold rush. It's the bomb, but remember, play a coin, make a wish. This is not financial advice.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
tuning in.